Wimbledon is going on this week, of course. You know, one of the biggest tennis championships in the world is going on this week. Alina Svitolina is in the championships. Going to be playing the quarterfinals today. Friday, she played a match, but she also had concert tickets to see Harry Styles. She gave up the concert tickets that she'd had for a while just so she could play in the match. And then she ended up winning and moved on to the quarterfinals.
You mean she had a choice?
She had a choice.
You wouldn't think they would have a choice, an athlete like that.
Well, she could turn it down if she didn't want to and say, I want to go to this concert. I've had them for a year and I want to go. But she said, nope, I'm going to, this is my job. It's my profession. So I'm going to give up the ticket. She gave them to a fan, which was kind of cool.
Good for her.
Yeah.
It makes you think about when you give up something for something else. I know Liz has done that multiple times.
Well, one time I got cast as Lady with Dog in the show Outer Banks. This has been years ago.
Lady with Dog.
Right? It was like going into season 2 or whatever. And me and my dog, Charlie, were supposed to be in it, but I opted to do the adult thing and go to work the next day and not
Good
try to
for
get
her.
a vacation day or whatever.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ninja gave up a trip somewhere. It was like Montana or something like that.
My husband gets to do cool photo shoots in different places, and he's going to Montana, but so I can have a Christmas vacation. I was like, I can't go.
And that's a hard choice.
Montana's beautiful, I hear.
Yeah.
I would love to go to Montana.
Yeah, but then you don't get a Christmas vacation. So I get it. Totally.
Yeah, very real. Yeah. And then, Scott, what was it you gave up? It was like a football game.
You know, I'm a big Georgia Bulldog, and back in the 90s, a little backstory, Tennessee had their way with Georgia pretty much every year, but in 2000, this was the game in Sanford Stadium that they were going to win, and my cousins got tickets, which were hard to come by, and they said, hey, come to the game with us, and I said, I can't, and they're like, what are you talking about, turning down a Georgia game? Well, I had a first date set up with my wife to be.
He picked love over the Bulldogs.
But you didn't even know it was love because it was a first date. You didn't know how that was going to turn out.
Oh, he knew.
I didn't. I knew she was special, and I said, I can't. I gotta go. I gotta go.
See?
Spend time with her. So
That's so sweet.
yeah, that was a good pick.
Right? Yeah.
Even though I missed the game, that's very
okay.
well worth it.
You wouldn't have had a marriage.
Right.
Right.
Never would have worked out. Makes you think about when someone gave up something for someone else. Love to hear your story.
You're listening to Rob and Liz in the morning.
His radio.
That whole thought about when someone gave up something for someone else's benefit. I wonder what your story is at 800-447-7234. We're hearing from Linda, and for Linda's case, it was a big concert that she wanted to go to. Would you give it up for, Linda?
My son, who I haven't seen in a year because of the pandemic and all, was coming, and I didn't even want to tell him about it because I don't want him to feel like, oh, you should go. It was a good choice.
Linda, what did he say when he found out?
I never did tell him. And not the funny part is I actually could have gone because when he visited for a short while, he went to see a friend that night. Yeah.
You said, yeah.
You're listening to Rob and Liz in the morning.
His radio.
So Caitlin and Eric are thinking we need to do something. They're a family, 3 little boys, but when they heard that there are 6 million Ukrainians displaced because of the war around the world, they're like, what can we do? Because there are some that are coming here. So they got together as a family. They're able to get in contact with Uniting for the Ukraine. And with no experience, they signed up to take some refugees in their home. So just days ago, Vitalia and Tatiana are now a part of their family, and they're helping to take care of them in their home with their 3 boys.
But I think they sold themselves short if they say that they had no experience. They have experience loving on people and being welcoming and being hospitable. And so that's what they did. They just opened their arms wide and said, we've got shelter for you.
And Uniting for the Ukraine is like, there's a lot more people that are coming. We could use some more people that are willing to open up their homes and help out, just like Erica and Caitlin are doing.
Yeah, and I think, if you're an empty nester or maybe there's an extra room, that guest room could get some good use and help people that have no idea where they're going to lay their heads at night
When
safely.
Spencer was in high school, he signed us up and volunteered us without asking to take in one of the foreign exchange students.
That's awesome, though, that he thought he should have asked.
Yeah. All of a sudden, there's a young lady that's going to be coming over. We got to pick her up at the airport a couple of weeks from now. And so we did. I can't remember her name because it was a few years ago, but she was from Germany. Spoke English very well, but I was wondering, okay, how are we going to communicate? How's all this stuff going to work out? It's a totally different environment, from Germany to the
here,
U.S.
sure.
to the South, where there's macaroni and cheese and fried chicken.
Instead of bratwurst.
Right, exactly. But it was one of the greatest experiences that we've ever had as a family.
And, Spencer's little heart. Love that.
You're listening to Rob and Liz in the morning.
His radio.
If you would, take a step with us inside Ninja's kitchen.
Yay!
Where she is all sour with dough.
Yeah, so what do we have this morning?
Explain sourdough first, if you would. What's this sourdough thing? I hear it and I go, I really don't understand. It's bread or something.
Sourdough bread is just delicious, but you have to have a sourdough starter that Ninja started, back in the spring. Feeding. It sounds like some weird science experiment, which it kind of is, but she has to feed the sourdough starter.
Yes, it took a month to get it active enough to bake with it.
This is an ongoing thing? This thing continues to grow and you bake all these different things off this dough?
Yeah, you have to keep feeding it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like a pet.
It
Yes.
is.
What do you name it?
Sarah Dean.
Sarah Dean.
Sarah Dean, I like that.
Okay. And so now Ninja has been bringing in from Ninja's kitchen of the sourdough experiment different types of bread.
Well, she made Pop-Tarts one time.
Oh, that's right.
That was so good.
Off this whole sourdough thing. So what is it this morning, Ninja?
It is jalapeno cheddar sourdough loaf, which is a very popular loaf that
Ooh.
people tend to make.
Ooh,
I can
yeah.
smell
I can
the
smell-
jalapenos in here.
I'm scared. I'm scared about spice because I'm not a really, I'm a spicy girl, but I'm not a spice girl.
You have your
know?
water?
Huh?
Right? I know.
Why
I
do
can be
Now I
saucy.
hear their music in my head. Thank you. Oh, that's horrific. Okay.
Okay, let's try.
Where's
Are
milk?
we going to try?
All right. Wow.
I got a big bite of jalapeno.
This
On
is
purpose.
really good, Ninja.
Thank you.
Oh, my word.
Ooh, honey.
You feel the heat?
Oh!
What?
Woo!
Hard to make. I mean,
Bread is difficult.
I started it on Sunday
Okay.
and baked it yesterday.
wow.
Because
So
it has
it's
to
a-
proof.
It's a whole process. And I feel like I got my proof so good this
Look.
time.
So you can tell a good proof because it's got like the little.
This is a whole different language to me.
I know,
I
but
hear
you have
proof,
to-
I feel like I'm proofing something before it's posted.
Well, you have to let it sort of rest in a more humid, warm environment, and that helps it proof, which means rise.
Good thing we're in the South.
Yeah, I had some garlic knots over the weekend that were not proofed at all. It was like eating hockey pucks. So you gotta, yeah.
Wow. Jake, what are you thinking?
It's pretty good. I think the flavor's there, and
His mouth is full.
Right?
it does have a kick to it, but I know it'll be 10 times better if it just came out of the oven.
And slathered with butter.
You're listening to Rob and Liz in the morning.
His radio.
There was sweat over Liz's brow. It's Rob and Liz in the morning, his radio. Ninja made this amazing, what do you call this jalapeno type bread?
Sourdough.
Sourdough.
Jalapeno cheddar.
Oh, that's good.
It was so good.
So
it had a
good.
nice crust. It was soft
Yeah,
inside.
we did Ninja's Kitchen at 7:50, and it's still lingering in the mouth.
A little bit.
You know?
Like it was, I'm not a spice eater very much. And so, whew, it hit. It
So
hit.
Teresa's here at 800-447-7234. Understand you got a question about this.
About the bread mix, the starter mix. 1,000 years ago, it seems like a friend at church gave me a starter for friendship bread, and you had to feed it, you had to mix it, you had to babysit it, and all this, and they wound up naming it Herman. So I didn't know if this was like the same concept.
With the sourdough starter, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because then that has been around forever, and there's all these different things you can add to it and make different flavors and all that. But I called for you, Liz, because if you have a pack of granulated sugar, pop that in your mouth, and it takes the heat from the jalapenos away.
I did not know that. I thought really if you had something super spicy, you drank milk, and that was supposed to counteract it, but I never heard sugar.
My brother was a police officer, and my son accidentally got pepper spray in his mouth. And he said, no, I'll just throw some granulated sugar in there.
Oh, that pepper spray in the mouth.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, and the eyes? My goodness, but don't put sugar in your eyes.
But at least we know milk does a body good.
You're listening to Rob and Liz in the morning.
His radio.
It's Rob and Liz in the morning, his radio. I don't know if you noticed, but there's all these movies that are coming out from childhood. Like Uno and that 8-ball thing. I don't know how they're going to make that 8-ball. You know, the thing you shake and it gives you those answers.
And you ask the questions,
and they're coming out. That's coming out into a movie. The Barney is coming out into a movie. All these are live action. I remember that 8-ball thing. That's how I'd always try to figure out if she will say yes for a date when I was a kid.
Right? Does he like me? And then you shake the ball, and then
and
it gives
you know what? It always gave me 2 answers. Don't count on it and very doubtful.
I know.
That was the 2 answers I always got from that 8-ball thing.
It was always very evasive. So the Barbie movie comes out in like a week or two.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, so that's the first one.
That one's not out?
No, it's
I
like
feel like it's been out, but I guess not.
Listen, they are hawking that thing like crazy. And I'm going to tell you, I'm all in. I am so hoping that they keep it innocent and childlike. You know, when I played Barbies at 8, 9 years old.
I feel like it because the whole movie's in pink.
I know.
You'd think it'd be childlike.
I
don't know. I don't know. That's just my thought. But Barney now is a live-action movie coming out.
Which it's not going to be. And I guess probably he will sing the I love you. You know,
of
that
course.
whole thing.
But here's the whole thing. It's geared toward the kids who grew up with Barney, who are in, their 30s now?
Yeah, my daughter, prime example. She's right at 30. And so, yes, it's going to be geared towards her. So I'm trying to figure out how they're going to make this happen. Is it that the kids now are raising their kids with Barney, so it's that very childlike thing? Or is it the kids now and how Barney influenced them? I don't know.
Or interacts with them today?
I guess so. But they're also going to make a Hot Wheels movie.
No way.
Which that one, I totally get that one. But, you know, Rob is right about the 8-ball one or Uno. How do you make a whole movie
off a card deck?
Out of Uno. But it worked with Battleship. I don't know if you saw... I'm getting some shaking heads in the room.
But listen, you can turn that into a movie because it's battleships.
It was so good. It was not like it was not Shakespearean acting or anything like that.
No,
it wasn't
but it was
great acting.
Battleship.
But it was fun. Liam Neeson, thankfully, was not in Taken again. So it was
how
good.
in forever was that movie anyway?
How
long ago was that?
8 years.
Seems like it's been
7.
longer than that.
Every time it's on,
I'll tell you who's really looking forward to the Barney movie, and that's Scott.
If you think I'm going to the Barney movie, let me get my magic 8-ball here. Don't count on it.
Don't count on it. Evidently, he's not a fan.
You're listening to Rob and Liz in the morning.
His radio.
Shocking to hear how many people actually would never give up their seat if they're in the subway or a bus or in public somewhere to a young lady who's pregnant. Just use that seat.
It's like 4 out of 10 people say that they would not. That's a lot. I would have thought maybe 1 every 100 people would not give up a seat.
Unless there's something physically wrong with me where I'm hurting or I just had surgery or something like that, I would feel completely guilty not allowing somebody who's pregnant to sit in that seat.
Or somebody that is on crutches or somebody who's older. I would absolutely jump up and, I'm not patting myself on the back. I just felt like that's what kind of most people do.
You would think, right?
Yeah.
Because, that would be thinking of others.
Right.
You would think.
And especially like on a bus or the tram at the airport, and that thing takes off and you're holding on for dear life and you've got somebody, with a
Here's
baby.
what a couple of people have said about the whole pregnancy thing. It's that, is she really pregnant? Am I going to insult her if she's not pregnant?
Well, you don't have to say, hey, pregnant lady, come sit down.
You're listening to Rob and Liz in the morning.
His radio.
I don't know if you've ever seen the Northern Lights. It's one of the things I want to see before I move on to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Never seen it in my life. I always hear about them. And I understand that they're spectacular, the Northern Lights. And it seems like everything that God displays is more spectacular than anything that you can ever see in a movie. Like when the solar eclipse was in the Carolinas.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what year that was, 17 or 18, something like that.
18 maybe, yeah.
Anyway, to see that with your eyes, you know, with a protective sunglasses thing, it was amazing. I had no idea. It just blew me away. So I'm thinking the Northern Lights have to be the same. And the best time to see them this year is coming up on Thursday because they say that there is this solar storm that's going on that's going to enhance the Northern Lights, and 17 states will be able to see the Northern Lights on Thursday.
Oh, please let it be the Carolinas and Georgia.
No, I think the closest would be Michigan.
Okay, road
for
trip.
us. I know, right? But that would be on Thursday. But here's some places: Alaska, Oregon. Well, that makes sense. Washington, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, both North and South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, Indiana, Maine, and Maryland. All will be able to see the Northern Lights. 17 states altogether.
I went to Alaska on a mission trip back in 2017, I think it was. And that was one thing I was looking forward to seeing. But
And?
the time we went, you don't see the Northern Lights. I think it's more of a September, maybe through like February or something.
Really?
And we were there in July. So I was like, really?
Well,
I
it's
came all
happening.
this way?
It's happening on Thursday.
Well, I don't know. That's just what I heard.
You're listening to Rob and Liz in the morning.
His radio.
It's Rob and Liz in the morning. His radio.
There's 4 people that for the next year are going to live like Mars. They're going to live in a Mars-type environment.
Oh, well, good for them. Is this a new neighborhood somewhere in Orlando?
Listen, if it were, I'd want to move in there. This sounds like not so much fun, but it sounds so cool. So they're living in kind of like a space hab, 1,200 feet, 4 people, and they're simulating some of the conditions that you might run into if you were on Mars.
Well, it's a good thing they're here because they can still run off to Lowe's and Walmart
Well,
and
they're
get their
not really,
groceries.
not really supposed to leave, and they can't order delivery, and they're eating like things that you would eat in space. So, you know, like the toothpaste tube.
Is this a NASA thing?
It's NASA, but these are not necessarily astronauts. They're kind of pseudo-astronauts, if you will.
So it's almost like average, everyday people. And they're how many are they putting in? A whole neighborhood? What are they doing?
No, so it's just these 4 for right now.
4 people only.
Yeah, and they're going to live there for a year. And they've even brought in like the red dirt to simulate the surface of Mars and some of those atmospheric conditions that they've put in.
So if this is NASA, they're going to
Yeah.
put them through it. So they're just not going to be sitting in there. They're going to test them and stuff.
They are, because they're putting them through some of the same kind of tests and trials that an actual, I hate to say a real astronaut, but yeah, a real
Well,
astronaut.
by the time they're done
would
with
go
this in a
through.
year, they'll be an astronaut.
Yeah, but
they'll
they've
be a
only-
Marsonaut.